But at the end of the day, at the end of the day, you're building a foundation for any market cycle. If you do these in any market, you're going to have success. You need to tweak a few of them, yes, but if you follow these 6 processes, these are sort of timeless.
Yes, that is a great point, because the market is going to cycle. We just want to be reacting with it and not going against it, because it does not work to go against the market. All right, let me swap over to the PowerPoint. And again, this is going to be step 1. Last month, we did the overview of the 6 steps. This month, we're jumping into step 1. So do a screen share. All right. Okay, can everyone see screen?
Mm-hmm.
All right, perfect. We always start with this screen, the quick version of this, and the reason is we like to remind ourselves and you guys that we're not here just to make a loan. Our purpose is to help our clients achieve financial freedom and security. Anybody on our team can say that blindfolded, because we talk about it here a lot. So that's what we're here for, and that ties right into the purpose of this call. And also in our niche, we are more than a money source. We're a funding partner. We want to help you guys find deals. We want to help you find the resources, the right insurance agent, the right investor-friendly agents, all the pieces that you need to be successful at this business. So why do we meet? I love this quote over here for one reason, because it's by Les Brown, and he's been very motivational to me over the years. But his quote says, "Too many of us are not living our dreams because we are living our fears." It's really hard not to be fear-driven sometimes when you're an entrepreneur. It's hard to not be fear-driven in our society of big negative headlines. So another reason that we come together to inspire each other. Business success should really not be a hit or miss. Follow the process, get the results. That's what we believe. That's what we've experienced. That's what other successful people that we hang around with experience. So that's what we want to bring into this call. We want to help promote a process that's going to help you guys get the results that you want. And by meeting as a group here, and then on our Facebook group for the Inner Circle, we can help each other follow the process and achieve the success that we want to find. And then last but not least, it goes right along with that Facebook group. Building your network is absolutely one of the best things you can do to be successful for business. Our welcome and an introduction time as far as the agenda, right here on the front, just a few minutes. Then the heart of this is going to be discussing step 1 of our 6 steps to 6-figure profits. That's going to include our Q&A, and then just a little bit of time to wrap up at the end. So really content focused on these calls. All right, now in this section, we used to say, hey, anyone new, we could kind of go around and share, but we've been at this for a while now. So what we really want to do is keep focus on the content of the call, but we know the value of meeting new people within this group. So at the end of this, we're going to show you guys how to get connected to our Facebook group, where you can go in and get to meet people and interact. That's a new group. So if you go there now, you're only going to see maybe a couple of people. We just started that particular Facebook group. So it's going to grow over time. When you go in there, share a little bit about yourself. What city are you investing in? How many deals you've done? We're not bragging or being humble or anything. It's just about letting people kind of get an understanding of where you are in your business building process.
All right.
All right, Parker. So just to set Parker up for this one, a couple of months ago, he did a fantastic call with us to give an example of what him and his business partner Tanner learned in their portfolio evaluation. And they came out of that with some action steps they were committing to take. And they're coming back to this group with short accountability updates on what they're doing and how it's going.
Yeah, thanks, Ray. So again, and what Julia referenced at the beginning of the meeting, our new landing page for this group is online, and it has all the previous recordings. And so a couple of months ago in January, I did kind of a portfolio overview of me and my business partner, Tanner. We primarily do the BRRRR investment strategy, and just we bought a lot of properties, and it was kind of just shooting from the hip and kind of not, doing things that we probably should have. We just, oh, let's get this deal, let's get this deal, let's get this deal, and not fully understanding the whole scope of things. And so we realized, hey, we weren't cash flowing on most of it. So we had to sell some properties. And so just like here in this meeting, we're trying to give you guys, hey, we're accountable. So like, all right, what have me and Tanner done the last time we met? So we decided we need to sell 2 properties instead of refinancing them. Luckily, one of them has a contract to close this Friday, cross my fingers, and then another one on March 31st or before. So hopefully that goes well. Again, we discussed, Tanner and I, action steps going forward. Last year we met occasionally, but fell off quickly, right? Like you do it a couple times and then life happens and you don't. Well, now we religiously meet twice a month, no matter what. And one of those meetings is to go over kind of reactionary steps, look at property management reports, see what we need to do. The other one is more proactive. What do we need to go do moving forward? We know that we need to sell an additional rental in June. So we have another rental property here in Tuscaloosa. It's currently rented out. We're not going to sell it to another investor because we know we can get a lot more if we just, hey, non-renew the tenant moves out, go in, paint, fix, whatever we need to do to get a retail buyer. So we're going to do that. We finished up our March 15th deadline business tax returns. I'm lucky enough to have my wife is a CPA. She doesn't cut me any slack on any invoices. I'll probably get like a $4,000 tax invoice. It's ridiculous. But anyway, we have some good data on that of like, I will probably update you next month, but I know I'm probably taking a little bit on this, but it's good stuff. So Tanner and I, how we did our marketing is we created our own website that was like, we buy houses for cash, doing a lot of SEO, pay-per-click. We spent, and I'll update you, but roughly $20,000 in Google ads last year, and we closed 4 deals. So that's roughly $5,000 a deal to get, and we can argue if that's good or not. We can do some data analysis and bring back if that was good or not, or if you should just use a wholesaler. So we'll get it, and it kind of ties into what we're talking about today. And then what's good is holding real estate. Finally, I've gotten to the point where I think I own enough properties that we're going to be recognizing a $35,000 loss per person. So for our business rental properties, I'm going to recognize a $35,000 loss. Tanner's going to recognize a $35,000 loss. So there's a win-win there. And that's my update.
Hey, see if you can put part of that 35,000 towards that $4,000 accounting bill.
I know, right? Hey, and then I kind of highlight for me and why it is so important to network and what we talked about. I closed on a property in my neighborhood last week for a BRRRR, but I have 2 kids. And so in my neighborhood a couple years ago, I have a 2-year-old girl. I bought a house for her, did the BRRRR. I put it on a 17-year mortgage payoff so that when she's 18, she'll have a free and clear house to either sell, refinance, go to college, start a business, whatever. I was lucky enough, Ken Jackson, he's been in our network for a while. He's attended these meetings. He's a wholesaler out of Montgomery, Alabama. He wholesales properties all over the state. I know him. We talk every day. He's like, I got a deal in Tuscaloosa. He sends me the property address, and I'm like, holy cow, that's in my neighborhood. Like, do not tell anybody about this. I'll buy it. So lucky enough to close on that. So again, networking's everything. And so I'll keep you guys updated how that goes as well.
Good deal. Thanks, man.
Yeah, and I will tell you, we told Parker it was perfect time for what we're doing here because we're actually using him as a guinea pig. And so he's going to be following all of these steps and processes and has actually started following all these processes. So we have a live example for you.
Yes. All right. So what are some things that are needed to hit six figures as a real estate investor and as a rehabber? So first, there has to be a system. There has to be a plan. Just hoping to get deals and finish them out successfully is not a winning strategy. That's what many of us do, though. We get busy and we hope the next deal's coming. And we don't have like reassurance and a plan in place to get those deals. And then making profits sometimes is not a winning strategy. You know, this deal was good. This deal's not good. This deal's okay. You know, having them be all over the place is not it. So we're going to help with a system and a plan for you guys. And then a team of key players. And, you know, I've got not necessarily employees in there because sometimes we think of a team and it has to be a team of my employees. And it's not that at all. Could be if you need to hire some people. But to get all the profits you want, you have to be a leader of a team of people. And that can be just people who are experts that you work with on a regular basis. They don't have to be employees, but they got to be key people that you can go to get the results. And then finally, run your business, because otherwise your business will run you. If you want to be making six-figure profits, you really have to act like the CEO. And that means taking care of the business side. And again, having been at this for more than a decade now in private lending, I've seen a lot of people just try to be the contractor, just be out on the job site, you know, just taking care of that side of the deal and not managing the business side of getting the next deal, paying the bills, getting the bookkeeping done, all of that side that, granted, that's nobody's favorite part, but if we're going to be professionals at this and get professional results, we got to make sure that somehow that's getting taken care of in our business. So we address all of these things here in the 6 steps to 6 figures. Last month, we did an overview. Now we're here in March. So today we're going to do the 6-figure marketing plan that we see right here. And we're going to be rolling out the other detailed recordings for the steps in the future. But that's where we are today. So the 6-figure marketing plan, what is that all about? It's about sourcing all of the deals that we need on a regular basis to hit the 6-figure income. Here's the nice thing about it. It takes a strategic marketing plan, but that doesn't necessarily have to be an expensive one. What you'll see in just a moment as we swap over and we start kind of looking at the plan in detail, it's not telling you guys to go out and spend 10 grand a month in direct mail marketing. We ourselves have done a pretty high level of business without, we haven't paid for Facebook ads. We haven't paid for SEO clicks. You know, we just haven't done any kind of direct marketing or anything like that, direct mail. We've put our energy into it. We've made a lot of trips to REIA clubs. We've done a lot of marketing, but not a lot of expensive marketing. And so we've already proven out the fact that it just needs to be strategic. It doesn't have to be expensive. So if you guys have some ways right now that are working for your marketing, feel free to drop those into the chat and we can talk about those as we get over to our 6-figure marketing plan. Let me swap which screen I'm sharing.
Well, in fact, I would encourage you to please tell us how you are currently finding your deals so that we can chat about that as part of the marketing plan.
Robert, how are you finding your deals?
Yeah. Am I muted yet?
No, you're good.
Okay.
We hear you.
The last deals I found, one was driving for dollars and the rest were from wholesaling. Making sure I attend all the REI club meetings around town, got me into other deals.
Yeah,
deal.
okay, that's good to know because it's gotten you quite a few.
When you say driving for dollars, do you pick specific
Yes.
neighborhoods?
Yes. Like broken down to a zip code. Like here in Birmingham, the most investor activity is in 35215. That's Birmingham Center Point area. So I kind of hit that maybe for a week straight. Maybe 150 addresses. One deal that way. And actually I got a deal from a realtor, the house in Irondale, and that's never happened before because a lot of times I don't know if there's any realtors in the group
Mike?
ahead of time, but a lot of times realtors, they just don't know the numbers that we're looking for, so they don't know exactly what properties fit in our boxes.
You are exactly right. So that's why we want to help people focus on and connect with investor-friendly agents who do understand, because it's a smaller group of them that get it. But when you're working with some, I know that Julia's experienced it herself. When you work with ones that really get it, they're an important part of your team. So yeah, let me go over this page really quickly. This is a Google sheet, and this is something that we can share, this template, not just can, we will share this template with whoever wants to get a copy of it. But it is our step one 6-figure rehabber marketing plan. We got a strategy page, we got a marketing plan page, and we got a campaigns page to go over here with you. So as we first think, again, I mentioned in a previous slide, got to have strategy. So planning and strategy for the 6-figure income first. And sometimes, just to be transparent, some of this stuff is just going to sound like common sense. The thing is, it's not common sense that makes it into our businesses a lot of the time. So we want to help take common sense and maybe not so easy to see ideas and help bring them in and implement them. So step one, we've got to have a marketing plan in place that's going to produce enough quality leads to hit the target dollars per month of gross income that you guys need in order to be able to pay yourselves the $8,400 a month or $8,500 a month salary that matches up with that 6-figure income. So month in, month out, you or somebody within your team has to be doing the things to get the deals in that match up for that. Second point there, all of this marketing, as you're doing it, one of the big things is that when you have a first touch with someone, you may get some deals off of a first touch, but if you've studied marketing very much, you know that the numbers show that somewhere around that 7th, 8th, 9th touch is when you usually do business with someone. So getting the people that you touch base with into an email system so that you can stay in touch with them on a drip campaign is important. And then as you see at the end of that, for the people that are on your low-cost marketing team below, the realtor, investor-friendly realtors and the wholesalers, we don't want to just use a drip campaign with them. They need to have like actual phone calls or text to stay in closer touch with those people, because they're going to be actively finding deals, and you want to be top of mind for them when they find that good deal. You want them to say, hey, I know this matches up for Troy. This is going to be a great deal for him. I know this is going to be a good one for Patty. You know, whatever they know, because we're staying top of mind with them, that it's the right deal for us. How else are they going to know it's the right deal for us? This point number 3, we need to be really crystal clear on what our deal parameters are. Robert, I love a minute ago that you said, here's the zip code that I like. So that's a piece of the puzzle, right? What location do you want to buy your properties in? What age? Right? It's going to be a very different rehab from a 1980s house compared to a 1940s house. And you may or may not want to do those 1940s houses. So being really clear on that, on the size of the property, If the sweet spot for you is that 1,500 to 2,000 square foot and somebody brings along a 3,500 square foot house and it's 3 stories, it's a different project. And you're not going to be able to go in and finish it out with your same crews in the same amount of time. And you're just not going to know that product as well. So that, knowing the rehab level you like, do you want to take it down to the studs and start over? Some people specialize in that, some people don't. But if you don't really have that at top of mind for yourself and for people who are looking for deals for you, if that's just not your game, if you don't want to deal with a 12-week rehab and you want to be in and out in 6 weeks, then you got to make sure that a total gut job rehab is not things that you're even filtering through. Knowing which ARV range you want to be in. All those things are really important for yourself to filter out the deals you don't want, but also for the people we're going to talk about down here as well, so they know what you're looking for. Then one of my favorite pieces, the numbers side of it. I'm a numbers person, so here is where you're going to want to look at what's the target income per month on a gross in order to be able to pay yourself a 6-figure salary, right? So what we are striving to help all of our inner circle people do is month in and month out, pay yourself a 6-figure salary. There's a lot to be said for consistency. I know for years we've paid ourselves a W-2 salary. So I'm still self-employed, but that W-2 salary is right there. I'm not just having to depend on, any kind of ups or downs. We base it on consistency. So I put in an example number here for you guys, and what that is, that's taking an $8,500 salary and factoring in that you're going to have 70% expenses, so a 30% profit. If you don't know what that is for you, you start out with an estimate for sure. But as we move forward in the months here, one of the tools we have for you guys is the 6-figure profit tool. So we're gonna show you a really good monthly spending and income tool that we use in our business that'll help you dial it in. What are your expenses every month? What does that income look like? So you can, see in real numbers for yourself where you need to be. So in this example, if you want to pay yourself an $8,500 salary and you got 70% expenses, that math works out to $2,800 needs to come in for income. So when you do that calculation, one of the nice things is it helps you set up a meaningful average profit per deal. Robert and I were talking earlier today about average profit per deal. And I said, hey, when we get on this call tonight, I'm going to show you kind of the way I came up with a number. So some people might say, hey, I want to be at 20 a deal, 25, 30, 35 a deal. There's no absolute right or wrong answer, as long as you get enough out of it to make it worth your time and energy for doing the deal. In this case, it made it real easy for me as an example to fill in a number of 29,000 minimum profit. And that said average profit. Let me just change that to minimum. That number is 29 minimum. Why? Because that rounds out to a nice even 1 deal per month to cover it. So if we put one in the pipeline in March and it's coming back out 6 months from now, I've set myself up for a payday then. So if I keep putting one in the pipeline every month on average, I'm going to see one come out the pipeline every month on average, starting a few months from now. Again, it's about making sure you get paid and making sure you get paid consistently. So let me pause for a second right here before going to the rest of that. Any thoughts or questions about this first piece that we've covered?
I haven't thought about the minimum profit per deal because of the deal we talked about earlier that I bought last year. Like I said, it was a driving per dollars deal. I think the lady kind of pulled on my heartstrings a little bit because she was facing foreclosure. So I was like, either I buy it and save her from foreclosure, or she just foreclosed. So that was another issue within itself. But on the surface, everything looked great. ARV 200 confirmed by BPO, bought it for 100,000, rehab budget 50,000. So now I'm thinking $50,000 gross cushion, you know, take out realtor fees, closing costs, lending points, interest payments, things like that. Probably about $24,000. So now I'm left with about, I would say, a $25,000 net profit. Okay, good, great, let's do the deal. So time goes on, rehab is finished, got the property on the contract, but the buyer decided to back out 2 days before closing. And this is back in December. So now I've gone a month and a half off the market, coming up on a time where the market is kind of tough anyway. And also, like I put it back on the market, just had to keep dropping the price just because that's when interest rates rose, people were getting scared, and it was just, you know, a tougher time in the market. So I'm saying, okay, let me just take it off, put it back in January, and let's see what we get. So I got a little bit of negative feedback about the workmanship because my contractors, for some reason, this property, they decided to just go retard, just full retard. You know, a guy that's been with me pretty much since I started, just totally act like he's in kindergarten now. So now I have to hire another contractor to come in, do a little touch up, redo the bathroom a little bit, make it more attractive so I can actually get to that $195,000, $200,000 price point I originally wanted. So with all that being said, you know, that $25,000 net profit looked attractive in the beginning, but you consider days on market, you know, going past that 7-month deadline, having to pay, you know, extensions and pay another contractor to fix what this contractor messed up. It definitely makes that margin a little bit thin. So when you think about it, okay, 25,000 over 7, 8, 9 months, it's a little different than 25,000 over 5, 6 months.
That's why you have to get one going in every single month. And that number is not fixed there. So if you come in 1 month and you think you're having a $29,000 profit, but it turns out, let's just say, right, change it to 23 and show them what happens. Then you know what you got to make up, right? You got to, and then let's just put it at 15, right? Now, you know, you got to get 2 deals that month to make up for the difference of what you said you need to make, you know, to hit that margin. And as you start looking at it out over a year, it begins to make sense. You'll know when you're ahead, you'll know when you're behind. Because if you go in and you make a $35,000 profit on something that you had targeted, you know, at 29, then you've built yourself in a little cushion there. So you will fill the numbers in according to the actual numbers as you go along. But you need to know what your target is so that you know when you are ahead or you are behind.
Right.
Make sense?
Yes. Thanks for bringing that one up, Robert. That brings up so many good, you know, points of what can go wrong. You know, you had it under contract, this happened, that happened. You know, some people might even say, you know, if my basic, what they used to say back in the day was the nut to crack, like a squirrel, you know, has got to eat, so he's got to get that nut cracked. 28,000 here and some change would be that number. So we might say, hey, I want to make a minimum of 35,000 just to make sure that if I do a deal a month, I'm good, you know, even if it stretches a little bit long or something like that. So there's a few different ways to do it. I know we can't dive in deep detail right now, but I know earlier today, Robert, when you and I were chatting, we were talking about the need for when something goes wrong in a project to have that feedback. You know, what went wrong with it? You know, what could I do differently? Was it just a one-off weird thing that happened that probably would never happen again? Or if I look at it and I'm being honest with myself, could I maybe have seen this coming? Could it happen again? Is there something I could change in my process to make sure that it doesn't happen again, or there's a really low likelihood? we'll have a group call later on to really kind of talk about that feedback loop. This is a great time to bring it up. So thanks very much for that. That's real life numbers. It makes a difference there.
Mhm.
And those profits can evaporate quickly if it don't stay on time and on budget. So the bottom part of this, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it. The important thing is, this is the other piece of low cost. When you have good investor friendly realtors that understand what you're looking for, that appreciate like wanting to build a relationship and do repeat business, then when you have those on your team, they're going to bring deals to you. That may not be every month, but between that and your wholesaler connections, you should be able to get a deal a month if you've got the right realtors and the right wholesalers on your team. So it's up to you guys to reach out. We're gonna help introduce you to people that can help. But as you guys reach out to people on your own, as you reach out to people within our network, talk with them, build that relationship, let them know these things that we mentioned up here that match up for you. What location are you buying in? Because Robert, you mentioned, Center Point, very active area. We got other people that only work in Homewood and Mountain Brook. We got other people that prefer like, Hoover. We got other people, in different areas. So different people have different areas that they just know really well. They like those areas. So letting the people know, people on your team know the kind of deals you're looking for, it's going to help them have that aha when they see the deal. Boom, that's for Robert. Boom, that's for Troy. And it'll help you quickly get the right deals that you're looking for.
Well, in the coaching realm too, there's this thing called RAS, reticular activation system. It's when you see something and you think about something, then that thing starts to appear because you've called it out in your mind. And so as you get really clear on what type of properties you want to buy and where and what, Robert, when you go to those REIA meetings, when you're looking at these different things, you're going to start to bump into people who meet your criteria because you know what it is, right? It's like, I know what it is. This is a match. This is not a match. So getting really clear on those details is super important for you as you get out there and network and build relationships.
Yep. And I appreciate so much that you already know, boom, this is the zip code. And you're going out to those REIA meetings and contacting people. So doing a lot of the right things. All right.
Ray. Ashley brought up a great question, and I definitely want to get Mike's input here. Mike's an investor-friendly agent. Her question is, she asked, is working with more than one realtor common? From her experience, the realtors want you to sign a contract basically stating they are your sole representative. How do you go about working with multiple? I think that's a great question. And right off the top of my head, I'm like, if there's different areas you're looking at, it's probably a different realtor. But Mike, how would you kind of respond to that, since you are kind of an investor-friendly agent? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I think if somebody's asking you to be there, if somebody's asking you to sign, to commit to them, they're not confident that they're gonna be able to bring you deals. And in my opinion, when I know that investors are not signed to me directly, it's going to make me hungrier. It's going to make me work harder to find those deals. It's going to make me work harder to make sure I've got that buy box defined, which is what you guys have been talking about, to make sure that I'm bringing more value to you as the investor. So honestly, if a realtor is telling you that you really need to sign with them, I would find another realtor pretty quickly. Sorry, this is my first time. I don't really know
I love it. That's a good
No,
answer.
you're right on topic there. And I would just to add what you're saying, Mike, I would say that if somebody's asking that of you, they're not an investor friendly. They're thinking more of the traditional one-off customer.
Yeah, retail. Yep.
That's right.
So, yes. So great question and great response. Thank you so much.
So can I jump in right there and tell them about my realtor, how I laid it out? Because with her asking that question, I had an investor friendly realtor that was basically, I considered her one of my greatest sources for good deals. And the way we did it is I did define my buy box and I sent that to her, and she gets paid when I do a deal, right? So I didn't have to sign anything, that she was my exclusive agent. And I did work with more than one, but I loved her because this is what I set up with her is I sent her my criteria and every week she sent me listings, properties that met my criteria. And then we would get like somewhere between 5 or 8 because she would just, and of course it's just a difference of inventory on the market, but we would just load up in the car and we would go see, we'd line them up and we'd go see all those properties. And then I would make offers and then she would do all the work to back and forth if they accepted or countered or whatnot. So she was one of my great lead sources because she knew the market. She was very investor friendly. She knew, in fact, I ended up actually doing some rehabs with her. We partnered on some deals because she understood it so much. So they are a very valuable team member for you on a lot of different levels. So don't be afraid to network. Know your criteria for working with an investor friendly realtor. In fact, I got tickled because today I got a Bigger Pockets email basically talking about investor friendly realtors. How do you find an investor friendly realtor? Now they're really big on agents and whatnot on that side, but that's one way that you can low cost perhaps go find one for you to put on your team. And then Michael always be on your team, right?
And then, in fact, I'm glad you shared that story, Julia, because I shifted off of this page before I really talked about these numbers, and I wanted to come back to that just really quickly. You could have a fantastic investor-friendly agent, but if you only have one, they're only going to see a certain volume of deals. So having multiple on your team, and you may have one that brings you the most. But doing the same thing with wholesalers. So we're recommending have 3 investor-friendly agents, have at least 5 wholesalers on your team, and then you're staying in contact with them. It may take more or less than that, depending on the team that you guys build. But again, remember, it's all about all of this down here at the bottom is in support of this point number 1. Your marketing is going to give you enough leads to hit your target income per month. So this is a low cost team. They're going to get paid. They're going to get paid well, but they're going to get paid when you get the deal, when you close on it. So everyone wins out of that.
Yeah, don't be afraid to, because for years there was just that whole thing about investors and realtors didn't like each other. Not the case. I mean, everybody wins on a relationship like that. And on the wholesalers, I would find out what their buy box is, because you may come across a deal like you were talking about earlier, Ray, that didn't fit yours, and you can make some cash now, maybe flip a deal to a wholesaler that doesn't fit your criteria.
Yep, great point. All right, let's jump into this marketing plan tab here, and you'll see this the number carries over here from the other tab. So that's where that 28 grand per month comes from. It's just a very visual reminder there at the top. So you fill in your company name up there, and then if you adjust these numbers over here, which I think you should. I put these in here for an example, but make those your own. Whatever you have on that other page will carry over here. And then we've got it laid out into 2 basic areas: online marketing, offline marketing. So we've got some categories for you here on both. Parker, I'll let you talk we don't have a ton of time left. So if you would just give them a high level overview of the online marketing, and then Julia, if you do the offline marketing.
I think we're going to flip it.
Yeah, flip that. Julie's going to take online.
Or flip that.
Because he's the one that goes to I'm not in Alabama, so online. So super important that you have a presence for credibility in there, But going up on Facebook, you can find deals on Facebook. You can post on Facebook, post your deals on Facebook, post thoughts, ideas, what you're looking for on Facebook. It's a great, basically free way to put it out there. I told you about Bigger Pockets. It's my nemesis. I haven't figured out how to work it correctly, but I know there has to be value there. I avoided it for years and years, and then they made me go dive in there, and it's not my favorite place, but you'll get deals off of there. You can. I think having layered online. So as you know, anytime you post on Facebook, it posts on Instagram and vice versa. And so it's really about getting your name, your credibility out there and connecting with people that are like-minded, that have the same values that you have, and building those relationships. And it's amazing, how much you can glean off that. I don't look at this as a deal source as much as a business relationship credibility source.
The thing about that is, Julia, I think we would all agree, doing deals creates a certain gravity. When
Yes.
people know that you're out there doing it. So like you were saying, under Facebook, when you do those posts, or if you go live and you're on a property, people see you're active, you're doing deals, you're finishing one up, you got the next one going, you're visible, right? Because a lot of us are out there doing good things, but if we don't take the time to post it for our business, I mean, personally, I don't do a lot of personal posts, but I'll do some business posts to let people know what's going on in the business. So people will get deals your way when they know you're active and you're doing deals, right? That's what I mean by it has gravity. They see you doing it, and boom, they're going to send deals your way. And I would say as well, we're not saying to you go out and start all of these things all at once, all in 1 week. You use the word layered there, Julie. I think that's a great description of, go first, get your strategy in place for Facebook. Then maybe utilize the fact that you can copy stuff from Facebook to Instagram. Then choose between Bigger Pockets or YouTube, for next. You might take it over 4 months and implement one new thing per month to get a good online marketing going.
And I'll just make a note there. We didn't put LinkedIn on there because that's usually more like business professional. That we haven't seen a lot of real estate stuff on LinkedIn. So we thought we'd put the 4 highest visible. But by all means, if you're on LinkedIn, it doesn't mean don't use it, but it's just not what we see as the highest priority there. Yeah, just, I mean, go. You proved yourself up if you show what you're doing, that you're a doer, not a talker.
Absolutely. And just really quickly, we put the quantity on here so that you can measure and hold yourself accountable and see how it's doing. We're going to talk more about that on the campaigns tab. But I wanted to point it out here of why we have the quantity up there. And that's just a suggestion. You probably would want to do more than that.
Well, and how many of y'all use like a calendar, like a Gmail calendar or a Calendly or a Outlook calendar or any of those different things? I go in and I'll do this as part of, I really want everyone that has an interest to come on to our Inner Circle Facebook site, right? You guys can network together. You might do deals together as we grow, tell people to come on. But I have a task on my calendar every day to go check that site so that if somebody's asking to come in, I can approve you to come in, or I can check to make sure, that everybody's up there and working. So just doing a simple task reminder is a way to get you started, because you're going to have to develop the habits of this. It's not like you're just going to jump in and do it. It's like Parker's talking about. Last year, they went 2 months and then they quit. This year, it's a habit for them. They're doing it every single month as far as their accountability calls. And so putting it on a calendar is a great reminder for you to do these little things as you get started, particularly.
All right. So offline marketing, and I'm going to be a straight shooter, guys. So the REI groups are so important. For us at REI Funding Partners, it's how we find most of our borrowers, right? Because that is one centralized location that everybody meets up, right? That could be agents, wholesalers, flippers, burr people, insurance agents, long-term lenders, anybody. That is like one-stop shop, so important. But even more importantly than that, like if you just go and you sit and you get comfortable in your chair and you're listening to the presentation and you don't talk to anybody, you have wasted your time. There is no point in going to a REIA meetup and not meeting anybody new, being an introvert. Like it's gonna take talking to people, getting to know people, exchanging contact information to have any sort of a chance at a deal. For example, so Ken, I talked about Ken Jackson, who's in our network. He's a wholesaler out of Montgomery. To go back to Ray's earlier point too about how many touches, like you have to talk to people before something happens. Building that relationship, there's various studies out there. I've heard at least 7 connects with a person or company before you actually do a business deal. I met Ken probably last April or May, and we've just done our first deal this month. So took us 10 months worth of just talking back and forth before the right thing happened. He knows we constantly talk. He knows I'm in Tuscaloosa. I will buy a deal in Tuscaloosa. Here are my parameters. He sent me something. It worked. He knew I was there. He had a deal. That's so important. Meetup groups the same. I know in talking, this is kind of localized. So like, for example, Patty, you're in New York City. It's going to be a little bit different than for you. It's going to be more online. It's connecting here in this Zoom meeting. It's talking to more agents like Heidi and Mike in this group, connecting with more wholesalers. But if you're here locally, you've got to go to the meetup groups, and it is so important to actually talk to people than just going. Again, lunch or coffee meetings, it's meeting people and then staying connected to them outside of the REIA group. So for example, Mike came down and saw us last week. That is so important. We feel like we know him now. We didn't just meet him somewhere and then that was kind of like one off. We extended it beyond the REIA group. So it's like you meet someone who you like at that meetup, connect with them outside of that. It's going to be so important for just building rapport. Again, podcasts, listen to those podcasts, teaching or presenting. Drip email campaign. I know that you guys see the emails you get from us. Like that is on purpose. We have been sending you a bunch of emails so that you show up here. We know that going back to what Ray talks about, like the consistency, whether you're emailing people or you're talking to realtors, like Mike in here. So you meet Mike, you tell him your criteria. You don't have to, blast Mike every day, but like making sure that you're top of mind, whether that's a text message or whatever it is. Like, hey, Mike, have you found anything? Like, I'm still looking. I have $20,000 for a down payment. Like it is so important. We blow y'all up with all these emails, but it's on purpose. It works. Some of you are here and like, we're not going to hide that. That's important. Bandit signs, y'all probably seen them, that's if you want to take the initiative and not pay for a lot of marketing material. One of my favorite things, Robert mentioned earlier, driving for dollars. I got a deal a couple years ago. I used to be in property management, and here in Northport, which is right next to Tuscaloosa, I made friends with a lady at the water department, and she was a sweetheart. And I was like, hey, Miss Sherry, can you send me a list of houses where the water has been shut off for 3 more months? And she sent me this list and hundreds of properties on it. And most of them were like not great, but I probably called 40 of them and got one deal out of it. It works. So like making those connections there. I had my buddy Trey, one of my good friends. He's normally on this call. you see the water utility guys driving around town, shutting off water meters, reading water meters. He just flagged one down, asked them, hey, I'm looking for like distress houses, water shut off. I'll give you $1 for every house address you send me because I can figure out the contact information from there. And then he says, I'll give you $500 if I actually close on the deal that you've sent me. He did it. We funded, REI funded a deal for him here in Northport. The guy, it actually wasn't a water shut off, but the utility guy met the owners of a house. They were like, yeah, we're moving soon. We need to sell this house. Utility guy called Trey and said, hey, they're wanting to move, and Trey got a good deal on it. And so there's all these things that just take initiative, though. That's the important note there. These are the low cost marketing ideas and tasks, but they take effort. Initiative to go to real estate meetups, initiative to talk to city employees about water shutoffs, utility workers, agents, wholesalers, and then just constantly, not to the point that you're annoying them, but maybe annoy them a little bit, because they're either going to brush you off or they're going to find a deal. It's like, it's either the guy at the Huntsville real estate meetup said it's so good. He's like, just like these email blasts, he's like, you're either going to unsubscribe from the email or you're going to do something about it. And so it's either or. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but yeah, just.
Hey, just real quick, Parker, I know we're getting close to end of time, and I wanted to point out a couple of things on here on that, on teaching and presenting. I just wanted to make sure that what is understood out of that is not everybody in this group or everybody that's going to watch this recording wants to like stand up and teach or something like that. But some people have pieces of this that they're good at. And so the note out to the side there says, seek out podcasts that you can be interviewed on. So people who are doing podcasts, they're always looking for content. And if you're good at rehabbing a house, or you're good at staging a house, or whatever piece of this you're really good at, you can get interviewed on different podcasts. And then it's just like what we were talking about on your Facebook, right? The doing deals, being perceived as an expert and a go-getter in your area can bring deals to you. So if you're being interviewed on a couple of podcasts here and there because you're good at some part of rehabbing and you're willing to get on there and be interviewed, it's not for everyone, but we have it on this list because it will be for some of you guys. And then just real quick on that bandit sign, you may not want to go plaster them all over town, but what we have here is put it on your job site, right? As you're doing these jobs, if you like that neighborhood, like that one, Robert, that you got in Center Point, if people are driving past that every day and they see your sign in there that we buy houses for cash, then, very, very low cost marketing, and it's very geographic specific to where you want to be because you're already there. It's in the market that you like.
Can I add two more things on offline marketing?
Yeah.
Yeah. One is making friends with these junk removal companies, because when the house is being cleared out, something is about to happen. And you want to be the first person to come in and say, hey, I see you cleaning out this house. You contact the seller, let them know I buy houses, let them know if they're interested in it. It's like, $250, $500 or whatever. And also keeping in contact with title companies, because sometimes deals do fall apart, investor deals or what have you. That's another source.
Exactly. You just
title work is already done, numbers already done. You just kind of swoop in and take over the deal.
That's a great one. I've got that down here under industry professionals like insurance agents, closing or title, closing attorneys, title companies. So that is.
Oh, I just can't read. My bad.
You've seen that. No, it was just down there in the fine print. So.
Hey, take them a box of donuts and a cup of coffee. Get to know that escrow agent. That was one of my best friends because she's like, I know somebody who'll close this if it doesn't go through. So that's great.
Yeah,
great.
You bring some Krispy Kreme donuts to the ladies at the Northport Waters Department. They're gonna love you. We did that.
Let me just explain this really quickly, what we mean here by this level 1 and level 2 network under referrals.
I'm just going to ask that.
Yeah, up here in the top part, this is places you're going to connect with people that can potentially send deals your way. When we get down here to referrals, that's a little bit different. You're kind of reaching out to people that you already know and letting them know, hey, I'm looking for new deals. I'm looking for a deal every month. So what this concept of level one is, that's the people in your sphere that know you directly. That'd be a level one connection. So what's an easy way to look at that? Look through all the contacts on your cell phone. That's a good beginning of your level one connections. Your level two network is the people that they know. So let's say you got 100 people in your phone, and we probably all have more than that, but let's just say it's 100 and they've all got 100 people in their phone. Good grief. You know, I'm pretty good at math, but not in my head. That's a lot, right? That's over 10,000, maybe 100,000 people. And that's people that you don't even have to go to for a cold lead, right? That's people, you know, are people that say, hey, I know this guy, Ray, who does fill in the blank. So they're given a warm connection to me. So a ton of business can be done just within your level one and level two network if you're letting these people know what you do and what you're looking for. You know, you become known as, hey, I'm the guy that's doing deals. I'm the guy that's always ready to buy a new deal. I'm the guy to talk to if you got a house that needs some work, that's selling. I'm not usually one to say, hey, promote yourself, but when you're in this business, when you're an entrepreneur, you need to be willing to promote yourself some. And it's not in a braggadocious way, but it's just letting people know what you do and reminding them to let their friends know what you do. Because again, that's probably 100,000 people or 10, whatever, should be on the math, but I'm not right there. Let me do it real quick. It's bothering me.
Okay, do it. And you don't have to be aggressive, like he said. It's like, if you'll notice for us, when we send out emails, we'll say, if you know of anyone who needs a funding on a rehab project, send them our way. It's
Right.
just as that.
10,000 people. So if you've got 100 people in your contacts and they've each got 100, that's 100 times 100, 10,000. So there's 10,000 people that you have one or two touches away. I know we're right here at the end of our time. So let me hit on a couple of other things important here. Direct mail is a real thing. It's useful, but it is costly. So it works, but we just got on here that it should be a future channel to be considered when you have a significant and consistent direct mail budget. So you got to be able to pay for that. Does it work? Yes. Gail and I used to do that back in the day. We'd spend thousands of dollars every month to get this many leads, to get this many phone calls, to go on this many appointments, to close this many deals. So it works, but you got to be prepared to pay for that. Whereas the other things that we're telling you about is more of, you pay for it at closing with somebody's commission, with somebody's wholesaler fee, whatever may be the case, a lead fee if it's the water guy, the utility guy. And then as you're doing this each month, if you come up with other ideas, we left space down here for any other categories. But I know we're throwing a lot at you in a short period of time. We could definitely have a different call where it's more, this is introducing you to it and trying to explain this concept. We could definitely do another recorded call going over exactly, somebody putting their plan together. But the main thing is, have a plan, make sure that it meets your monthly income target, and then follow these best practices. So for your drip, like Parker mentioned earlier, if you're getting business cards at a meetup group or a real estate investor club, instead of coming home and throwing it in your desk, come home and throw it onto your drip campaign. Have a CRM that you can use to communicate with the people on your list. So when you're meeting people online, offline, you can get into a rhythm of putting them onto your list and staying in touch regularly. They're Aweber, Constant Contact, MailChimp. Those are all either free or low cost, ways to stay in touch with a CRM. And then as you do that, you want to have a plan for how often you're going to communicate. Is it once a month? Is it twice a month? Is it once a week? But within that, be thoughtful in how to make it a value add communication, not just an I need another house email. I hope you guys see in the emails that you get from us, some of them are reminder emails. Hey, we're about to have this meeting, or, this new thing is coming up, but we really strive to make sure that if we're going to send an email out to you guys, there's value add in it. So that is going to increase your open rate over just an email saying, hey, I need a deal. The other two things that are kind of some general marketing best practices as we wrap up here. Number one, accountability. How are you going to ensure that you're getting that marketing place done each month? The best thing to do, as you see underneath there, is begin a weekly check-in meeting so that you can make sure that you're doing your Facebook post, you're doing your Instagram post, you're going to this meeting every month, you're reaching out to your warm list, whatever that is, you put on the marketing plan on that previous tab, making sure that you're doing that. And then the second there, efficiency. Marketing it can be a strange thing sometimes. You're not always sure what's going to work. Some things that you think wouldn't work have great results, and other things that you think are going to be great do so. So how do we do that? Well, we measure the results that we get, and then we do more of the things that are working and less of the things that are not working. Or we say, hey, this should work. Do I need to make an adjustment to it and try it again? But if we're not checking the results in our weekly meeting and making some decisions based off of that, we're probably not going to be getting the most return for the time and energy that we put into the marketing. So there's our 3 tabs. 6-figure rehabber marketing plan. If you start off with that strategy, you have your buy box, you have your people on your low cost team. You know how much you need to make per deal, so you're filtering out the ones you don't need. You have a good marketing plan that you're committed to following week in and week out that's going to generate the right amount of income. And then you have your weekly check-ins to make sure that you're following up on your plan. Put those elements together and you're going to get the deals that you need to fund the profits that you want to have every month. So again, I know that's a lot. We can definitely answer questions offline or come back together for another meeting. Let me swap back over to our PowerPoint for a second.
Yeah. And while Ray's swapping back over again to everybody on this call, we're here to help you. We don't have all the answers, but we have enough experience on our team to help you or point you in the right direction or to help you keep your accountability. That's why we created this group for accountability, especially the Facebook group. But if you need offline accountability, reach out to me or email info at REI Funding Partners. We'll figure it out. We want to help you guys grow and succeed.
Absolutely, Parker. That is what we're all about. So think about the action that you'll take prior to our next meeting. And I put in all caps there the word commit. If you want to get the results, you got to take commitments. You got to take the action. We encourage you to post your commitment in the Facebook group for accountability. What is it you're going to do? Are you going to go figure out the strategy step? Are you going to put together your marketing plan within the next week? I would hope that by the time we come back to this next month, everybody here and then the people listening on the recording will have their plan in place, at least their starter plan, and start taking action on that to get the deals in the right areas, to get the deals that you're going to filter out that are not going to be profitable enough for you. Get those out. Here's the ways to stay connected. Find all the content that we have is on the Inner Circle webpage. Parker's been sending that link out by email. There's no sign in or anything for that. It's just you go there and we're going to be continuously adding these recordings there. The link to the Zoom is there. As we add the new content, as all these steps come out, the tools and everything will be there, as well as these recordings. The Inner Circle Facebook group that we've been talking about again and again, the link or access to that page you will find on that Inner Circle website. So getting on there, getting to meet people is big. And then, you know, you can definitely always interact on our REI Funding Partners Facebook page. And I know we've had a couple people come in here late. That's probably because of the time change. You know, heck of a Monday to do this right after we just had a time change over the weekend. So just the good news is, if you're showing up right at the end of this, we had a lot of good content and it's recorded. So on this Inner Circle webpage, by tomorrow, we'll have the link up there for you to be able to go back and watch and see what we have here. And then finally, because we're looking at 6 steps here, it's important to know what's next. Step 2 that's coming up for April is going to be analyzing each deal to make sure that you do hit those minimum profits that we talked about on the strategy page for your marketing plan. And we've got a tool that we're going to introduce there. It's the max offer generator tool. Within that, not only are you going to see your minimum profit in there, so you can make sure that you're not paying too much for the property, you're also going to have in there how many months you should take to get that project completed. So it's going to go hand in hand with you saying, this deal that I'm taking in March is going to pay out in June. And so you're going to fill that in on your June calendar for a payout. And you start to see which months you don't have a payday in, and you can start filling in other projects to fill in those months where you're missing out. So that's what's coming up for the next month, to make sure that you're analyzing these deals and get the profits that you guys need there to be successful. So next month, again, we'll be hitting on the second Monday of the month, April 10th, 5 p.m. daylight savings time.
Yay.
And we'll email this tool out to the group members, the marketing tool as well.
Oh,
So,
great. Okay.
yeah, by probably tomorrow morning at the latest.
Yeah,
All right. Thank you.
it's going to work that way. We're definitely going to make it available because it is a Google, not a doc. It's a Google Sheet.
Right.
I'm a little bit concerned that if we just email something out, everybody's going to get to the same one, and if somebody makes changes to it, it's could change the content. So we want to make sure you get a copy of it. If it's emailing it out, we'll do some research and see. We'll email it. If it's putting it on that Inner Circle webpage and let you download something, we'll make sure that you guys get a copy. We may have to convert it to an Excel sheet to do it. Whatever it takes to make it work, we'll make sure that you guys have a copy.
All right. Great. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Well, hey, in the essence of not keeping you guys over, I'm going to wrap it up for today. Let me stop the recording. And